God is just continuing this character thing. I mean, conditions of your heart, how to control your anger, and now we're going to talk about the conflict within, and then we're going to end with love. And the facets of love, and all the facets that it is, and everything that God intended for love to be. The good love, the bad love, all of it. And just really break it down, because I think that after he molds our character, what is our purpose then? After he whips us into shape and fixes the brokenness in us and the things that we've been destroying our lives for years and we had no idea, after he reveals all the inner workings of our soul and our spirit and our flesh that we had no idea, what do you think he wants you to do with that? He wants you to play it forward. He wants you to reciprocate it. He wants you to share the same comfort in which you receive with others. He wants you to be doers of the word, not just hearers of the word. He wants action to go along with what you have been liberated for. He wants the blood of your testimony. He wants the word of your testimony that was shed by the blood of the Lamb. He wants you to go out and share. Look what God has done for me. I once was blind, but now I see. There was truths that I've learned that I've never thought that I would ever hear about. And now God has set you free. He has shaped your character for the service of his ministry. And it's up to you guys to go for it. I just want to say this. Me personally, as your pastor, as I preached every word, these words have been preached to me first, and I have to live. And I gotta say, I have come to a place in my life where I have matured from hearing the word of this character series. Unlike any other series before, it seemed like character is the most important thing, because without character, God can't use you. You will break, you will run, you will cry at the first sign of adversity. And God uses our character not only to make us strong and fortified, but to humble us and make us meek and lowly like Christ. See, when you look at Christ's life, you got to look at all his attributes. You can't just look at the healings and the miracles. You got to look at the feelings and the emotions. You got to look at the whole man from the inside out. And as you begin to become intimate with Christ, understanding who he is as the character of God that stands in flesh, then you are illuminated to understanding something about Christ you never knew before. I'm telling you, it will take you to a level that you never thought. A level of spiritual intimacy with God that you were never able to get to. But you can't get there in your present state of mind. God has to change the way you think, the way you talk, the way you function, the way you act. See, most of our problem is our actions. We have to become fully engulfed in the attributes of Christ. There we find a relationship with God. No man comes to the Father without going through the Son. Do you think that stops at salvation? No. That's just the beginning. That's just to get you to the front door. As you go further and deeper through the Son to get to the Father, you will find out that the Father is the Son. And they are one. And then you will begin to change, because no flesh can glorify in the presence of God. All those things will begin to just melt off you, and your character will be created for God's purpose. I don't know why I said that, but I wanted to say that because it was just an interlude to what we're doing here. I want there to be a soberness. I want there to be a seriousness. I want there to be an urgency like you've never been urgent before, to learn and know who God is, and God, what is it that you require of me, and why has my life been struggled, and why have I been, every time I go forward, I go back. What's up with this anger, God? What's up with my heart? Is my heart really saying yes? When you look into the depths of my heart, God, do you really see who I really am? Because sometimes I can't find you. Sometimes I'm so far away from you. And so God begins to change the condition of your heart. And now he wants to reveal the conflict that we've all struggled with since our day of birth. Our main scripture is going to be Romans 7, but we're not going to get to that today at all. Romans 7 and Romans 8, we're going to break those down tremendously because Paul calls it the conflict within, the struggle of two natures. What is about this conflict? Well, let's start with the word conflict. The word conflict is a simple meaning. It means a few things. It means serious disagreement. Now, when I talk about this, I want you to think about this is what's going on inside of you. Everything I'm going to preach about today is what's going on inside of you. Not because you've been influenced by your mama or your daddy, not because you've been influenced by a doctrine or a teaching, not because you've been hurt by a scar or a wound, because it is the natural nature of the law of being a human being. Having done nothing to deserve this conflict, you were born with it. So I'm going to take away all your little finger pointing. And this is not to point a finger. This is to illuminate your understanding of where our struggle really lies. Amen? Within ourselves. See, the only way demons can attack us is because we've already lost within ourselves. The only way the gates of hell can prevail against us because we've all, I said prevail against us, not attack us. But to prevail means to overcome is because we've already lost within ourselves. That's what the Bible says, greater is he that is in me. Who is in you? Greater is he that is in me. Who is in you? Greater is he that is in me. Who is in you? We're going to find out. Your mouth say Jesus, but your actions say Lucifer. No. So the conflict, when I talk about the conflict, I want you to say that there is a battle, say it, there is a battle going on inside of me. Good. Now you have to understand that we're talking about the battle of conflict that goes on inside of you. Amen? So we start with the word conflict. Conflict means serious disagreement. Can you imagine? Can you picture how many times you've had a serious disagreement to what your heart says and then what your body wants to do? To what your mind says no and your feet just carries you to do it? There is a conflict of a serious disagreement. There is an argument. That's what the word conflict means. You're having an argument within yourself constantly. No, what did I say? What did you say? No, yes, you are crazy. Walk around, talk to yourself. It's okay. See, they can't say you're crazy who you're talking to because you say, no, the Bible told me there's a conflict what's inside of me. There's two people inside of me. Yes, there are. Okay? And it says here, to be incompatible. What does that mean? That means they're not compatible. They're not going to get along. They are totally the opposite of each other. Night as it is day. Black as it is white. Totally two different. Incompatible. You can try to marry that other person over and over again to that other person and they will never get along. They're at a variance. That means when the negative and the positive add up, there's a variance. It doesn't equal each other out. They're at a clash. They're constantly clashing against each other. I'm talking about what's going on inside of you. Isn't this a trip? Having shown, and ooh, I like this one. Having shown, confused, and mutually inconsistent feelings. Sometimes I feel like a nut. Sometimes I don't. All your life you wonder, what is this stuff inside of me? It's the flesh and the spirit. Well, what are they fighting for? Control. Well, what's the reward? Your soul. Let's get that clear right now. The conflict within inside of you, your flesh and your spirit, is fighting for one prize. Your soul, which will be judged. Your soul is the deeds of conscious doing from the spirit and the flesh. It's all the record of all the good and all the bad and all the ugly. That's why God says, one of the greatest commandments is to love thy Lord with all thy heart and all thy soul. But I thought we talked about spirit and flesh. Pay attention. I'm going to repeat it again. The fight between the spirit and the flesh is for the prize. They're fighting for your soul. You see, when you die, the flesh goes back. Your spirit goes back to God. And your soul stands before the judgment. So now you know what the fight is all about, huh? All this takes place inside of you. The flesh and the spirit is a form of, ready? Spiritual warfare. You can't see it. You can't touch it. But you know what's happening. It's mythical. It's mystical. It's unconceivable because you're only looking at it from your flesh. Right now, in this room, if you can understand that there is really a battle of flesh and spirit inside of you, then you have already have the victory of knowing that there is an enemy. But if you can't comprehend that right now, then you're right where the devil wants you. Young and dumb and don't know nothing. So guess what Pastor Mike's going to do? He's going to teach you. He's going to teach you so that you can know. Half the battle is knowing that there's a foe and fighting him. And then the victory is knowing how to fight him. Not by might, nor by power, but by what? God's Spirit. And for this spiritual warfare is happening inside of you. It's the good versus evil. It's the sin versus righteousness. It's the freedom versus bondage. Paul says, I'm a slave to my own self, a slave to sin, held in bondage and captive. What is Paul talking about? Paul's one of the most holiest men we know after he stopped murdering people. Paul is talking this way after he's been saved. Paul is talking this way after he's raised the dead. Paul is talking this way after Jesus himself came and said, why do you persecute me? This is Paul, the man of God, still struggling with the conflict within. I'm not talking to sinners today. I'm talking to saved folks. What takes place is two powerful wills, one choosing to dominate the other. The word dominate is this, a commanding influence. You see, I want to take you back to the garden in Matthew 26. And this was in the Garden of Gethsemane in Matthew 26 and 41. And Jesus knew that his hour had come. But Jesus knew why he would come because Jesus knew the plan. And one of the things he gave us an interlude to what was happening to men before his death came. And it says in the scripture before 41 that he went and he prayed and he came back and his disciples had fell asleep. And he rebuked them. And then he went and he prayed again and he said, God, if it was possible, let this cup pass from me. You see, Jesus was struggling with the same thing he came to give us power over. He was struggling with his flesh and his spirit. The spirit said, Lord, your will be done. And the flesh said, no, I don't want to die. I like occupying you. Jesus, I was about to turn you out and make you go do some great things. Oh, if I could just stay in your flesh a little longer. But his time had come. His 3.5 years and 33 years and a half of living had come. Because Jesus had a mission. Listen, this is how powerful the struggle of flesh and spirit is. God, manifested as man, still had problems. Let me tell you something, this flesh is, woo, it's powerful. Get a glimpse of that. You never even looked at it that way, did you? Listen, he said this. Ooh, this is so good. Get this in your spirit. He said this in 26:41. He said, keep watching. Oh, just stop right there. That's enough. God told me to keep watching. And then he said this, and he said, and keep what? Praying. He said, watch, be vigilant, be sober. Look at, have your eyes focused on him. Keep watching the hand of God move. Keep watching the sign of the times. Keep watching the spiritual domination that is happening in the world. Open your eyes and see what is going on. And when you see the horrific sight that I'm about to show you spiritually, because you're looking at me with your spirit, not your flesh, you will begin to pray. Amen. Because you will pray for mercy. Yes. You will pray for grace. Yes. You will pray for God help us. Yes. Because you have now saw what God sees. Yes. 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 Jesus, before he was going to die, told his disciples, he said in his rebuke, and he says that you may not enter into temptation. He said the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. It was the first time that we got a glimpse of what Jesus was talking about, flesh and spirit. I imagine the disciples went like you guys. He just woke us up, cussed us out, and went back to pray. Then he said, well, watch and pray. That you're in and out into temptation. But the spirit is willing and the flesh is weak. Now I'll be right back. God, I'm struggling with this flesh right now. Okay. All right, Father. I will concede. If it's not possible. Jesus said, if it was possible. Do you think that the flesh was that strong that it was about to change Jesus' assignment? It wanted Jesus not to go through with the mission. Your flesh wants you to not go through with the mission. We talking about Jesus. God manifested in flesh, the Son of Man, the Son of God, in all his power and might. Could have just said, I don't want to do it. Forget man. They're not worth it. But yet, the Spirit conceded and overpowered the flesh. And Jesus says, that will be done. Listen, both entities. There are two entities inside of you. The word entity means this, having a distinct, independent existence. Oh, now we know what's wrong with y'all. There's another person that is completely not you. So when we see you up in the club, and you told your wife you was at home sleeping, who was that? That was the other person. You know, we got all these celebrities that got alter egos. Beyonce, Sasha Fierce. That allows them to act in that fleshly person where they think that they don't have to have accountability for it. But how many know you're going to be accountable for your alter ego too? Oh, yeah. You got husbands that live double lives. Ooh, those guys are amazing, man. I mean, they got a family here and a wife, and then over there 100 miles away, they got a whole other family wife there. Most of them are traveling salesmen. They go from place to place. They have an alter ego. They have another person. They've allowed their flesh to completely deceive their spirit. Where they think it's, no, I'm normal. No, brother, you're not normal. Okay? Distinct, independent existence. That means he can do it with you, or he can do it without you. You. That's the flesh and the spirit. I'm talking about what's going on inside of you. Don't look at me like I'm talking about there's somebody else. Okay? Y'all looking at me like, is that? I am still talking about what's inside of you. So I want you to take yourself and put yourself in a glass and look at yourself from the outside in, and you'll get this message. I never knew that. Listen, God created both flesh and spirit. Did you know that? He created both of them. Why would God want to confuse us like that, huh? That's a dirty trick to play on us, God. You know we can't handle that. But listen, God did that because what? Because he wanted humans to have the right to choose. Yes. So he gave us free will in serving him. Go to Joshua 24 real quick. Joshua 24 and 15. This describes the first time that God has given you his free will. If you know the text, Joshua was about to die. God had brought him over already. And this is the first time that they came out of the Moses law and they're coming out of the Joshua law where there's no more leader telling them what to do. Now they're in the promised land. Now they're here and they get to make their own decisions. So Joshua says this. He says, if it is disagreeable in your sight to serve the Lord. If it is disagreeable for you guys not to come to church and serve God, he said it's okay. That's your choice. He goes, but this is the thing. You need to choose for yourself today whom you will serve. You see, the most fascinating thing about this is that we were made to serve something. We were made to serve something, or we will go our life serving somebody or serving something, but we will serve something. You don't get to go through this world not serving something, not being a slave to something. You will serve one or the other. Joshua, already knowing this, put this to the people. He said, whether it's the God which your father served, which were beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorite whose land you are living in now. He says, but as for me, but as for me, but as for me, but as for me, but as for me and my house, but as for me and my house, but as for me and my children, as for me and my children, as for me, my children, my dogs, my rat, and my cat, as for me, my children, my dog, my rat, my cat, and everything around me, we will serve the Lord. So you say, God, why did you give us that? Why did you give us that grenade? Why did you give us that? Why didn't you just end it? And it says because he wanted humans to have the right. Let me tell you something. In the garden, after sin was exposed to humans, he decided to see what would happen. I don't think you heard me. In the garden, after sin was fully exposed to humans, God had decided, turn to the elders, let us see what will happen. You see those same elders, he said, let us make man in our image. So God's image is free will. Who can hold back the hand of God? Who can say to God, God, why have you done that? No one can. God has free will and the sovereignty to do what he pleases, when he pleases, and what he wants. So guess what? We were made in his image, and he gave us the same thing. God, can you hold that back? No. It's not like I give you half of my stuff that's in me. You get all of me or none of me. So he gave us anger. He gave us emotion. He gave us love. He gave us sympathy. He gave us compassion. He gave us the flesh and the spirit. Because we were human. And he said, he could have destroyed sin in humans right then. Do you guys know that? Right after Adam and Eve had sinned, he could have just said, that's it. The devil messed up my plan. I'm going to destroy everything and start all over. He could have scratched us from the very beginning. But why didn't he? I often wonder this, guys. All that went on up to today. Think about this for a minute. All that went on up to today. Does God regret not destroying the beginning of human and starting all over? I always wonder that. I always wonder, God, you could have just scratched it right there. But you didn't. You scratched everything you made. You scratched out the dinosaurs. You scratched out Mars. You scratched out Pluto. You scratched out all the other 28 solar systems. You scratched everything and started over. Why didn't you scratch us? I'll tell you why. Because we were the only one like us in all that God had made. In everything in the universe, there was none like human. Somebody made with free will. Somebody given flesh that will control us and spirit that will guide us. I imagine God was a mad scientist that day. Him and the 24 elders were creating something mythical. And I imagine when Michael came up to him and said, God, what you making? Be quiet, Gabriel, I'm talking to God. God, what you making? I'm making something special. You'll see, Michael. God, why are you making them different? Like, not like us. You didn't, God, why they get flesh? Why they get skin? God, what is this you're making? Be quiet, Michael, I'm making humans. Because I want to test their love for me. Oh, yeah. You see, you guys broke my heart, right? Lucifer, your brother, and 1/3 of all your cousins. See, I made you guys perfect. I made you celestial. I made you one way, just spirit. So I allowed no forgiveness because I knew that my programming and my DNA in you would stay forever faithful. But I was wrong. So now, I'll make a new creature. One that's never been like before. Not like the birds of the air or the fish in the sea. Not like the animals on the land. One that is made in my image, in all of it. All my compassion, all my mercy, all my mistakes, all my sins, all my authority. One that is free to choose who they will serve. And then, Michael, I will have what I've always desired, a relationship with my creation. But not by force and not by might, because of desire and longing to love me back. And Michael said, okay, God, what's my assignment? And how many know what Michael's assignment is? He is the guardian of the human race. You see, my answer to why God wouldn't have destroyed us comes out to this. He loves us too much. He hates the sin that we constantly commit, but his mercy endures forever. His love, which is counted as grace, is sufficient for our deficiencies. His love that is counted as grace is sufficient for our deficiencies. We are the only creation, guys, that has free will. Now you know why we're hated by the prince of darkness. Oh, yeah. Now you know why you're hated by Lucifer. Because not even Lucifer was given free will. And then what did God do? He went on. You see, and because we have been given free will, we will always have the constant battle of conflict within us. Listen, it's in our being. Do you know why we're called human beings? Because our being is the state of the fact of existence opposed to non-existence. We exist as a being that God has created, that is capable of having flesh and spirit. And we are created for this, for the conscious mortal existence, for life. Life is the conscious mortal existence. This is why you stand. This is why you walk. This is why you breathe. Because you were created to be a human being. Did you get that? And being a human being carries both human and spirit. And so we go on to understand this. God has given us both spirit and flesh so that we may choose to serve him. No other creation on heaven has been given this choice. Listen, it is our blessing and it is our curse. It is our blessing and it is our curse. It is the conflict within us, the spiritual warfare for what? Our souls. When Jesus gave us the greatest commandment, and I want to point this out to you, that the spirit and flesh is fighting for one thing, your soul. And instead of God destroying us, he wants us to show him how much we love us. We love him by serving him. By serving him with our being, with our natural existence. And when we go to Matthew's, we understand when Jesus was talking and when somebody came up to Jesus and said, Rabbi, what is the greatest commandment? And Jesus said that you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart. And then he goes on to say, and with all your soul. And then he goes on to say, and with all your mind. In other words, with your conscious, moral existence. And if you love God with that, that will be the greatest commandment. Amen? You see, in all of his grace, God tried to make us successful. You know, let's imagine that God was just like trying to make us successful. Come on, you guys can do it. Come on, I got heaven riding on it. All the angels are upset at me. I lost 1/3 of my kingdom. Everybody hates you. But I know that I created something good. Oh, I just want to take back that free will I gave you and kill you all. That's why the ground would open up. That's why he got so mad he flooded the world again. Oh, imagine God's conflicted inside of him. Should I kill him? Should I keep him? Should I kill him? Should I keep him? And imagine all this was happening before what? Before God became flesh. Imagine the torment that he went through over and over again because, man, I gave you free will and you still don't want to do what I asked you to do. Moses, why didn't you speak to the rock? I told you to speak to it. You struck it. Why did you let your flesh kill everything spiritual that you've done for the last 40 years? Now my judgment will come and you will not cross over. You see the battle? Moses wasn't influenced by nobody but the conflict within him. Listen, in all his grace, he tried to make us successful. Okay? So this is what he did. He gave us the law, written and verbal. He gave us 617 laws. And then he gave us 10 written laws on stone. And then he gave us a bunch of verbal laws where your leaders would teach you that. And he gave us leaders. He gave us prophets and prophetess. He gave us teachers. He gave us land and riches. We didn't suffer. We didn't go without. He gave us all these tools to make us successful. To what? To serve him. He gave us all these things so that we would be faithful unto him time after time after time. He gave us food and shelter. He gave us kings and queens. But in all that helping and all that cheating that he gave mankind and all that extra help he gave us to bring them closer, we were still empty and missing something very special. We were missing relationship and intimacy. The word intimacy means close familiarity. Not as a familiarity where I assume upon your authority or your title and take you for granted, but that I'm familiar with you. I know you in an intimate way. You are my God, my Elohim Echad. You are my fortress, my rock. I know that in my time of need, you are my help. And I can count on you. I know you, God. And see, intimacy and relationship brings that. And he gave us friendship and closeness. And Jesus is a friend that's closer than any brother. He gave us togetherness and affection and warmth and confidence. When we have intimacy and relationship with God, all those are the attributes of having intimacy with God. This is all God has ever wanted from us. He don't want our gifts. He don't want our riches. He don't want our fortunes. He just wants us. And now you know why. Because he risked it all to tell everybody that I got the right one. This human thing, I'm under something. You see, he gave us something else to help us be successful. Because all those things he gave us didn't work. So he thought, how can I give them something to help them fight the conflict within? They needed something stronger. The law fell. The King David fell. Moses and Aaron fell. Elijah, my prophets, and them all fell. The judges in book of Judges, Samson and all of them, they fell. Gideon, all of them. I turned back the hand of tide. I spiked the enemy. I caused fire and brimstone to rain from Sodom and Gomorrah. All these things I've done, but yet nothing worked. They still willfully sinned against me and didn't even talk to me. They turned their back on me. What is causing them to do that? I should have never made them with flesh. I should have never made them with flesh and spirit. I should have never gave them free choice because they break my heart. Just want you to get a glimpse. So he gave us something else. He said, okay, this will be my last time to make human successful. And he gave himself, born in spirit, to become flesh. What a daddy. What a daddy. The kid is drowning. He didn't call, somebody help me. Somebody got a gun, get ready to shoot my son and daughter. Son, police 911. He jumped in there. He jumped in the midst of it. He jumped in that water to save his child. He jumped in front of that bullet. By him coming to be flesh, that's equivalent to what he did. He says, I've tried everything. I will go and I will rescue my creation. In order for us to gain control of our sinful acts and desire, God had to become flesh. That we would become more like him, righteous, loving, giving, caring, forgiving, merciful, so that we can bear the fruits of the Spirit. In Galatians 5:22, don't go there, just write it down. The fruits of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. This is why God came. This is why he came to instill a greater relationship, so that no longer would your flesh dominate your spirit, because there was nothing else that could work. So he infused us supernaturally with the Holy Spirit. And that every man and woman, once upon salvation, you are infused with that. You are infused with the power to resist temptation, as Jesus said. You are infused with the power to know that there is a struggle within you. And you get to fight this war. Yes. Stand to your feet. We're not going to start Romans till next week. And because of the time and everything, we're just going to close here because I want to say something to you. We're going to talk about not only this gift that we receive from God, but why it gives us the upper hand. Because we're going to talk about the struggle that goes on within us, that Paul says, even that I know not to do that. That means I know that I know that I know. I still find myself doing that which I hate and know not to do. But I still do it. That's us. You know to get up and get to church, huh? But you still lay in the bed and find an excuse not to come. No, just that's it. But that is part of it. But you know, if Paul struggles and he's warning us, there's something about this conflict. There's something that, and this was just an interlude. I wanted to take you back to the beginning of how it all happened and why we're in this place. Now we have the start of the series of how this thing all started. Why it even exists in the first place. Because you're special. God made you above anything else. When you think about what we do to our bodies and what we do to our spirit, you should be ashamed of yourself. To know that you were made far beyond any creation that God had ever made. To know that you are specially designed and infused with God the Father's personality, DNA, strengths, and likeness, and character, and image. To take life for granted and to not be about your Father's business and try to figure out this would be a wasted life before Him. Once we become Christians, we have to figure ourselves out. We got to understand why we do the things that we know not to do. And then Paul goes on to tell us how to fix it. It's called life in the Spirit. And that's how you fix it. And we're going to break that down and see what that looks like. So this is just the beginning. I wanted to set it up where you go home knowing that yes, there's two people inside of you. Listen, this is your own thing. It's you. It's what's inside of you, not influenced by anything. It is what was born in you when you took the breath, when the doctor spanked that behind. Okay? There was a conflict then. Your mama said, go to sleep. You said, no. Your mama said, give me that bottle. You said, no. Your mama said, sit on that potty and learn how to potty. No. Why can't you just do what your mama said? Because your flesh was already working. Your flesh was already working against your spirit. Not that I know to do. I know mama wants me to go potty in the potty, but I'm going to potty in my diaper anyway. I know kids know better. I got 6 of them, and I know they know. You're like, now, just yesterday, you pottied in the toilet 3 times. What happened today? If a kid could talk, he'd be like, I didn't feel like it. So I chose to do it in my pull-up. Now change it. Listen, this is so funny, but it's so true. You start to see the working of the flesh and spirit at a young kid's age. You mothers in here can't tell me that you didn't whoop that kid 10 times and he knows better. So now, guess what? We're grown-ups. Crusty, B.O., we stink, we scarred. Oh, we got anger issues. We got condition of heart issues. We got all this stuff. Now Pastor gonna tell me about the conflict within, okay? Yes, we are. Because it's another area of character that God wants to expose. Amen? Listen, I don't know, this might be better than the other ones. Because God is going deep. He keeps just doing surgery on us. And you know what? He's so gentle with it. He knows that I know just how to operate on my daughter. I know just how to operate on my son, on my teenagers. And God's going to operate. Just say yes. Just come and learn what is going on inside of you. And I guarantee you guys, once you really find out how powerful the flesh is, I gave you an example of Christ wanting to abort this mission. Who was Christ? Christ was God Himself. I imagine when He came back to Him, He was like, "Whoo, never do that again. That is it." Okay? Shit. And then He was like, "Michael, come here. Gabriel, come here. Ariel, come here. Raphael, come here. Come here. Man, I'll never make one of them again. Next time you see me do something like that, you slap me." Okay? Because that flesh is something. And guess why it's so strong? Because there's an adversary that took Jesus and says, if thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down. And it says that a legion of angels will come and you won't even stub a toe. And then he took his flesh again. He says, you see all this, riches and glory. It could be yours. And Jesus says you shouldn't tempt the Lord thy God. Now listen. How many people, not being Jesus, was he able to make them say, okay? He tried to tempt God himself. The flesh, when you leave out of this building, respect your flesh, knowing that he is a formidable enemy. Okay, let's pray. Father, we thank you for self-control. We thank you, Father, that we can do all things through Christ that strengthens us. We thank you, Father, that you are so merciful, so kind, that you want us to get it right, God. Father, we don't know why you keep doing this to us. Self-examination, cross-examination, elimination in this process of evaluation. But Father, we say we're just going to take it. We're just going to accept it, because if it brings us closer to you and an authentic relationship with you, then we say, Lord, do it. And do it well. And do it fast. And do it long. And whatever it takes, God, you make us into the creation that you desired. Father, let us not be the one that brings heartbreak and shame to your love. But let us bring joy and honor to know that I am a child of the living God, of the great I am, of the beginning and the end, of all that is, all and is to come and is. And it is an honor to do your service. It is an honor to wear your badge. It is an honor to march in your army and to know that there is a reward laid up in heaven for all the things that I've done, all the sacrifices that I've made, all the fixing and bending and the looking in and out and changing of my character and my personality to become more like you, Christ. So Father, shape us, mold us, make us, and recreate us into that blessing, that sweet aroma to your nostrils, not the stench of the world and the darkness, but that sweet smelling aroma that you would look down upon us and say, this is my servant who I am well pleased with. So Father, let us be eager to learn, quick to listen, slow to speak, and